So today, we're diving into a really powerful development model, one that could totally reshape the future for Bangladesh. It's called agro-tourism. And let me tell you, it's about a whole lot more than just a vacation in the countryside.
You know, right now, Bangladesh is caught in this dual battle. On one hand, you've got this immense pressure for jobs, for food security, all while trying to support a fragile rural economy. And on the other hand, the constant threat of climate change and environmental decay. But, and this is the key, inside this struggle is the promise of a truly sustainable, self-reliant future. So the big question is, how do we get there?
All right, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the crossroads Bangladesh is facing. Then we'll introduce agro-tourism as this bold new vision. After that, we'll dive into the three pillars that make it all work: the power of cooperatives, building a global brand, and creating greener, smarter villages. And finally, we'll see how it all ties together to forge a more resilient future.
Okay, let's start with that first point, the crossroads. The really crucial thing to get here is that for Bangladesh, this is a fight for development and for survival happening at the exact same time. These are not separate problems, they're deeply tangled up, and that means they need one single integrated solution.
And that's where this new vision comes in, agro-tourism. But I want you to forget everything you think you know about tourism. This is not about building resorts. It's about building a brand new kind of economic engine, one that's powered from the ground up.
So what is it really? At its heart, agro-tourism creates this living, breathing connection. It links the place where our food is actually grown with the people who eat it. And along the way, it weaves in education, it weaves in local culture. Basically, it turns farms, fisheries, and entire villages into destinations people want to experience.
And this, well, this is a huge shift. A farmer is no longer just someone who produces a crop. In this model, they become an entrepreneur. They're a host, a guide, a service provider, a really key player in a much, much bigger economic picture.
Okay, so how does a small farmer actually pull this off? Well, it all starts with the first key pillar of this whole model, the power of the cooperative.
Look, if you're a small farmer, going it alone is incredibly tough. But when you unite in a cooperative, everything changes. Suddenly, you can pool your resources, you can share the risks of starting up a tourism business or trying a new product, and most importantly, you can make sure the profits get shared fairly among everyone. It's literally strength in numbers.
And hey, this isn't some new, untested idea. This is a proven model. All around the world, from Italy's famous agriturismo to Japan's rural co-ops, this exact approach has totally revitalized local economies. It's got a global track record of success.
Now, once you build on that cooperative strength, you get to our second pillar, transforming local products into a globally recognized brand. Think about it. When a tourist visits your farm and sees with their own eyes how you produce organic honey or a special kind of rice, that builds trust. It creates a story, and that story gives your products incredible value. All of a sudden, they're not just commodities anymore. They're premium, traceable goods you can market all over the world under a trusted Bangladesh brand.
The third pillar takes this whole idea even further. It's not just about the economy, but about creating a system that's truly sustainable. And this is where the concept of a circular economy comes into play.
So, in a typical farming model, waste is a problem you have to get rid of. But in an agro-tourism model, waste is just a resource that's in the wrong place. So what does all that farm waste become?
Well, it becomes energy in the form of biogas. It becomes nutrient-rich compost to grow the next harvest. It becomes feed for the animals. Absolutely nothing is lost.
And the result is that something that used to be a problem, waste, is transformed into a valuable asset. It actually fuels a green, self-sustaining economic cycle right there in the village.
This creates an absolutely incredible opportunity. Instead of all the young, educated people leaving for the cities, villages can become hubs of innovation. I mean, we're talking about startups in agro-tech, digital booking platforms for homestays, eco-tour guiding. It's a whole new wave of rural entrepreneurship, just like we've seen in places like Kerala, India.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, it might be the most critical one. For a country as vulnerable to climate change as Bangladesh, how does this model actually help build resilience?
Well, this chart says it all. When a farmer's entire income depends only on their crops, a single flood or a single drought can be absolutely devastating. But when they diversify with tourism, with homestays, with high-value products, they create a financial safety net. They become so much less vulnerable to those climate shocks.
And there's another really powerful benefit here. When people from the city, especially kids, visit these farms, they connect with where their food actually comes from. They learn about sustainability firsthand. You end up creating a whole new generation of citizens who genuinely understand and value protecting the environment.
Of course, turning this big vision into a reality is a huge job. It's going to take a coordinated effort from a lot of different government ministries. It means getting farmers access to easy financing, creating really solid training programs, and of course, building the infrastructure and security needed to support a real tourism sector.
Which leaves us with this powerful final thought. The whole idea here is that the path to a strong, self-reliant nation begins by empowering its villages. It's a really compelling vision. The only question left is, could this truly be the key to unlocking Bangladesh's sustainable future?